So one of the questions I often get asked is, should I update existing content or should I add new content to a website, which will offer me maximum gains, SEO gains? And honestly, there's no straight answer to this, but there are a few things you can do to identify if you'd rather be updating your existing content or if you're better off writing new content. And this also partially depends on the size of your website and when is the last time you updated your content and the type of content that you've got on your website. Now, it's important to bear in mind that if you're running primarily a news website, then this is not something that you will need to do because news stories expire and Google understands that. But if you're running a blog or if you're running an affiliate website or you're running any other website that is where you're posting content almost regularly or even weekly, and the website has grown quite a bit, you may notice that keywords that were once ranking are not ranking anymore. And one of the reasons that's the case is because Google sees that content or sees a lot of your content that was once ranking as now being outdated, and so there's now updated content that is taking over, so to speak, and so that's ranking higher than you and you're ranking lower, so you're not getting as much traffic. So in this video, we're going to discuss what you can do about it. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I try to answer all comments that come my way. Web pages tend to build value over time. The content on your website can remain relevant for years, so that's where writing evergreen content comes in. I always say 30% of your content should be evergreen, depending on whichever industry you're in. 30% should be evergreen, but pages that were published for some time have presumably built up links and visibility, and that creates a lot of page value. So evergreen content can have a great deal of value in this sense, and those pages will continue to show up on search results. Your audience, you get a lot of your audience from that evergreen content because that is how they would have first found you. But freshness is generally less of a concern for Google, and especially this is something that's mentioned in their page quality rating handbook, that its age is not really something that they're looking at. But what does that mean? So older content can be relevant and considered high quality. Think an informational page like about the American Civil War, or how a gasoline engine works is going to be pretty much the same after 4 or 5 years, unless there's new information that comes to light and you were the first to find out that something about the American Civil War or something about how gasoline engines work, and you update that content with that new information that you've had, and that will enable you to rank higher than all the other pages that do not have that update. So over time, any given website could have like maybe thousands of outdated pages, and Google over time will not trust a site which has let's say 2/3 of the pages are over 3 years old and have outdated information, especially if those topics are being refreshed by your competition. So if those same topics are being covered by your competition and they're doing a better job and their information is newer, you will not. You will lose to those to the competition. So usually a refresh of the content will bring you back on page one, and that's how you'll get maximum SEO gains. Normal types of information depreciate over time if not maintained. Websites eventually not rot away. So they will rot away in the sense that the rankings will lower. And now what Google is doing, and this is something I've noticed, is that Google now starts to de-index pages that are old and outdated. So they may just one day disappear from SERPs. But well maintained and a website is a valuable asset. So So make sure that you're updating your content. I'll go into how to do that. Now, if a website is designed and researched and outlined and written, edited and optimized, and engagement objects like images and videos are added, that can take hours of high quality work, and that will cost you money if you're even if you're hiring someone to do it. So you shouldn't ignore any of your pages. Now, so what Google says, and this is important because obviously we're all trying to rank on Google. So Google says that you should spend time maintaining your website in order to ensure quality. This is according to Google Search Quality Raters guidelines. It says unmaintained, abandoned, old, in quotes, websites or maintained and inaccurate, misleading content is a reason for low quality page rating, which means that you're not going to rank as well. So the takeaway is an old and unmaintained web page may be considered low quality. This is even true for your money site and your money pages, because those can impact a person's health and finances. So, and anyone who's reading your content, and it's a 2-year-old article about how to manage your finances, Google sees that as being dangerous for the person who's searching, and the same goes for someone who has articles in the health niche. So if your website contains inaccurate information, is low quality, you need to update your pages. So there's no going around that. This is something that John Mueller reiterated in 2019 during their office hours session. And he said that we try to find a balance between kind of showing evergreen content that's been around for a while and has many references, as well as fresher content. So the SERPs will have a mix of content. And you obviously want to update so that you're ahead of everyone else. So what you need to do is a content audit. In addition to creating new pages for your SEO program, a content audit is going to is one of the keys to prioritizing how to refresh your old pages. A content audit will identify weak and underperforming content on your website so that you can improve. So one of the things that you can do is you can go into your Google Webmasters portal. You can log in there, take a look at what pages have dropped in rankings, take a look at when they were created and published, and if they are older than a year old or a year and a half, and there is fresh content or there are updates and that your competitors are posting, take those pages, update those pages, make sure to add today's date if you're updating it today, or whenever you're updating it, put in the latest date and put in a subsection that says update, and that should be right on the top, and then the preceding article will go below that, and make sure that the updates are either listed or they're in paragraphs or they're explained, however you want to do it, but it should mention update. Now, the other way to do this is using Google Analytics. As I mentioned, that's one way. The second way would be to use a Screaming Frog, SEMrush, both of which I've used, but I personally would go in favor of Screaming Frog because it also gives me technical data. And this will help you understand how your pages identify weak pages or underperforming content, and you can update those pages. Once you've compiled all the necessary data, I would suggest that you make a list of all the pages that need to be updated, and from which was ranking very well on page 1, but now they've dropped to page 2 or 3. Once you have a list of those pages, take a look at them, highlight pages that can be updated, and start updating those pages. Now, you would want to focus on keeping the quality of your content very high, obviously. So focus on, especially if you're in the health niche and in the finance niche, quality is very important. So now, if you've seen that information hasn't changed entirely, like for instance how gasoline engines work, and, the content, the product isn't going to change a lot. But if you've done a blog post on the Google Broadcore Update 2021, and now there's a Google Broadcore Update 2022, then you would need to create a new page about Google's Broadcore Update 2022, and link from the old page to the new page, and let Google know that this is an update to the old page. You could add an update to the existing page, but then that will make things very confusing. So make sure that you're making good use of common sense, obviously, so that your readers find it easier to find information. Some content may just have to be removed from your website, and you would have to 301 redirect it to a new page if the content has changed entirely, or that information is incorrect. But it's receiving some links used, it's receiving some traffic, so a 301 redirect to a new page with better content, with better links, which is easier to understand, which is going to be your best bet here. As your website grows, it's important to maintain your content. So how much SEO can you gain out of it? Refreshing your content is a more 50-50 thing. So depending on your content and how it was ranking, you could see a 100% gain in your SEO ranking. I would suggest that if you're doing a blog post or an article every week, make sure that you do an article every week, and then do refresh 2 pages with fresh content every week as well, and do that over time. Make it part of your content schedule, so that you're always updating your content and you're monitoring your existing content, because that's the only way Google is going to see you as an authority, and you're going to continue getting that good sweet traffic. So guys, if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'll see you guys in the next video, which is going to be about how to know if you've been hit by a Google update, or if your rankings have just dropped because your competitors are doing a better job. I'm still in the process of doing some technical stuff with it, so stay tuned for that video.